So fast.
Yeah, and today we have the first time in the big space. We tried in the big space. Every day is very different because I mean we have a practice. So we record it, and you will see it afterwards. But I mean, it's way different every day, no? But we are very happy with Robbie.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, that's a big thing to include a third person. So how's that going?
Hello?
Hello?
Now it's frozen.
Yeah, I'm the frozen one. Do you think I should come to Jorge's room?
Maybe come here. I think will be easier.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So I have to make you the host or
That's okay.
something.
I'm
Or I
gonna
don't
roll
know.
a cigarette and in the
Yeah.
meantime
Okay.
because I'm at the airport, but I'm here. I just say online, right? Or do I have to go out and come back?
No, I mean, yeah, maybe.
So that's a little bit complicated because we have to come back, but I have to make the call again somehow. So what would be the easiest?
I mean,
You
this
just
works. This works now. I mean, does it not work for you? Or
yeah. You can try
Let's
like this, and
try. Let's try.
if it's really bad, you just take your video out.
Yeah.
are you talking about me or about
No,
Naoto?
no, Naoto.
It's
Like I
me.
think your connection is good.
Yeah.
Dani.
Yeah, and I see you are rock stars over there. Get your posters printed on faces. What's going on?
Yeah, we have printer banners. We are gonna print stickers. We're gonna print more banners. And tomorrow we're gonna have a conversation with the director to see if we can have access to the tour budget to buy more stuff. Because we are, yeah, now tomorrow also now is going to buy something because we have this big space. So it's like it's a concert hall. And so what we're doing is that we are actually using the space of the audience, but there is no chairs.
Okay.
And then we are not using the stage.
So where does the audience sit? On the floor?
Yeah, so we're gonna put some, like some stations, like cozy stations with bean bags and things like
Okay.
that. And also Naruto is tomorrow going to buy some color, color, some textile color to create
Constellation or I
things
don't
in the
know.
floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe you need
but
to see what happens with that.
yeah, I'll try to get the
But-
samples tomorrow.
Yeah.
But are you now talking about where the audience is sitting, or are you talking about your stage?
No, like that's the thing. So like somehow like I see that I feel like in two ways with the audience. Like the thing is like it's gonna be so especially in this space, like because it's so big, like for this performance, I think we are not expecting more than 50 people. But when we're coming back for the festival, they're expecting 300 people at least. That's normally the audience they come. So like in this time is fine because we can arrange 50 people from stuff that we found.
Yeah, but we always have to clarify that audience will be where the audience will sit, and we will be also there. That's the first thing, right? That we are trying now.
Wait, it's a 360 situation
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So the audience is 360 around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but then you have to be careful if you're gonna do also where the audience sit it colorful, because how are you gonna how is it gonna be clear that what's the stage and is it a tape on the floor or?
Yeah, I mean that's the space that like I was talking today with Naoto that I feel double. I have two feelings with this. Like one is like we can demarcate this with the textile. Also, anyway, so Naoto is gonna buy some textile for the floor. Also, we have tapes, and that's what we did in February to mark what is the space for the stage. But the way how I feel is that because of the constellation, how it works, the performance, it feels that also the space is huge. So it feels that if we go in that mode, I'm afraid that we might have to, we or the people involved in the performance, we might enter in a policing state with the space. That's a fear that I have. So the other one is take the risk, and also, so the other one, the other feeling I have is just acknowledging that everything, including the people, is just gonna be around, and then deal with that.
Okay, but let's go back to the ingredients that we talked about, right? This is exactly why we did this exercises, so that this kind of decisions can be taken. Like, my feeling is, like, I haven't seen this space. I will see it soon. I'm very excited. But my feeling is the formal aspect of your work, right, has to be with a certain kind of rigor. So if you mix the space of the audience and what is this stage, I don't know. I don't know. Intuitively, I feel it could be dangerous.
You mean if it's not clearly demarcated?
I feel it's very clear as you have a quite, let's say, this is, you have a lot of things going on, right? And it's a lot of elements. And
Yeah.
okay, one question is, okay, how to create intimacy or bring the audience close. Okay, that I get. But I would be very visually formal. And this is the stage, this is the audience, and not like have also neon elements in the audience, because it's confusing, because then you go more into the direction of like kind of an installation.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
And I think the title of your piece is stage 4, like, and it's already pretty messy. Like, messy not in a bad way, but messy in a sense of that it's not like a classical theater piece with a frontal, like it's experimental. So I think you have to be going back to like the core things that we worked on and really think, okay, you want to create a situation where also it's clear for the audience in what role they are in, right?
Okay. So from that perspective, I'm thinking that something like when now to the design that you share with me, like, can you share your screen now?
You mean the
On the
image
stage,
of the
yeah.
text, the stage, or sorry, you need to explain a bit more.
The design of the textile on the stage. I call
On
the
the
stage,
audience,
yeah,
yeah.
I call the
So
stage
so
audience.
that's something also I would note, that we need to see what on the stage or the space, how how we name things.
Also, another thing, if the space is huge, right, you're also going for something that you can scale, right? Because not all
Yeah.
spaces are going to be this huge. Okay, this space has a specific kind of challenge, I understand, because it's that huge. But still, I would agree on parameters that are scalable everywhere, and my fear is also, if the place is really as huge as you say,
Yeah.
the amount of stuff you would have to put in there in order to really make it feel like it's an installation, I don't know. And I think you have already a lot on your plate, so why not just make a very clear separation where the audience is like dark and no decoration and no like elements that also appear on stage, so that this division is quite clear. Okay, I see the screen.
Mhm.
So what is the orange thing is what?
We don't know. We don't know. Somehow is.
Should I explain a bit?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, sorry, I was chewing and I couldn't also, like, oh my gosh, Zoom is like crazy. Every time it's different. So basically, this is a floor plan of the space. So you can see that it's like a concert hall. On the left, it's a stage normally.
Yeah.
And the audience where they sit, you see these stripes?
Yeah.
They basically have like small steps. So it's not like
Okay.
a riser, but like a riser-ish thing that, like, it's not flat, it's not a slope, but it's like a step every 1 meter. So it's like really awkward to walk through. That's something we are trying right now, like how we run around. And basically coming from,
But where are
yeah.
you? You are on stage, or you're where this orange thing is?
So
We
maybe Jorge,
are-
yeah, you just, yeah. You can
We
explain a
are,
bit.
so the stage is not being used right now. We
Okay.
are we are, you can see can you see my cursor? No, I guess no.
No,
No.
you cannot.
So yeah, so what is white? What is white
Okay.
inside of the circle?
Okay, so you
But
eliminate
we still use the projection. We still use the projection on the stage.
Yeah.
in the front of the stage or in the back of the stage?
In the front of the, can you point with your,
Like
yeah,
somewhere around here.
yeah.
Okay,
You see
and
it
you
cursor.
are your whole setup is now where the orange thing is.
It's
No,
everywhere.
so this is just a plan to have textile covering this orange part, this green part, for example, with the, let's say, yeah, from the budget we have, that's possible to cover. So I was just simulating how it would look like. But that's just a part of
you are
the,
everywhere, and then the audience would also sit everywhere.
Yeah. So like, the problem that we have right now is that, so the way how I have been approaching this is by, so the first week we were trying to work in ways to relate to each other, because also the space was different. And so we move on Sunday. Today is the first day that we do, the three of us, 1 hour, something similar and the structure that we were doing before. And now the way how I start feeling is in the center is the light console. And from the center, there are other things that start coming out. So but those things, I mean, the way how I work, how I work with this, when I'm working with this with Naoto, is the way how I do also in my house, actually. With my clothes, it's just naturally the things start getting in, they're finding their space. So
Okay.
so in the center, there's a light console. And from there, for instance, can you show what is the big rack of clothes, Naoto, that we have?
big rack of
Stage?
clothes. It's like in front of the stage.
Yeah, so we have two things with clothes. One is, so far, is like in front of the stage, and the other one is somewhere right now to the right. Also,
From the stage, yeah.
yeah. Also,
Yeah.
Robbie is at around this area, and they have the sound station there and a box. I don't know how you call a box back there.
Yeah, not the
Yeah.
sound back, but and just also to situate a bit, like this plan I drew, but basically the idea now, I gave total like agency to Jorge, so we haven't really like discussed how we do it. It's just like Jorge's leading, and naturally I'm, let's say, supporting in this sense.
Okay, but again, now in the scenario that you're pointing out, I just want to understand, would there also be people seated between where the orange thing is and the screen at the stage is, or would it be more like, oh, not a 180, a 270 situation where people would sit on top of the orange, in the front of the orange, and maybe between the green and the orange, or how are you imagining that?
I think this is too early to say that, to be honest. But it's good that we reflect on this. Yeah.
Because my feeling looking at this and knowing your work and having talked to you a little bit is that it can be a bit look, if you place people on both, let's say also behind the orange thing and the screen, so in between that space, you also have to understand that you will have people in your vista. So the people sitting on the other side, they will not just see you and the stage and what's going on, they will also see the other people. And this, I don't know, visually, it could get potentially a bit messy. That's just like an intuition I have.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's right. You have to try it out with the light conditions. Also, maybe you can black it out in a way so you won't see the people. Maybe with the stairs, it's also possible if people are seated on the floor that they won't interfere. But I think that's definitely something you need to consider.
Yeah. But
And
actually,
we also have the slinkies.
yeah,
Which
wow,
is,
we have slinkies also. They are something, it's just a bit of it. Can you share this? Can you share your screen, your WhatsApp screen, and show the picture?
I'll try. Wait a second. Yeah.
So
I might
like,
be
the way how we, so you can see a picture of this. So part of the lights is there's this black light we are using,
Mm.
and there are this is this material that you put in the in machines that cut grass.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know this. I have one of these in Portugal. I know this stuff. It's great.
yeah. So we are yeah, it just we bought some this by chance, and we will have some of these in the space.
Okay,
Uh,
but now imagine, this is a great example, this photo. Now imagine between the cloth rack and the screen,
uh-huh.
people are sitting.
That could be, yeah. Now reflecting the, yeah. So then we just we
And
reverse stage.
well, what I would do is thinking of the photo before, I would go, it's not frontal, but I would go place most people on the other side. And then you can use the long ends. So in this case, looking at this photo, all the way to this side and all the way to this side. So it's not a real 360. It would be like, I don't know, 270 or something like that, something between 180 and 270, where you use like, in a way, it's 2.5 sides, if that makes sense.
So
Do you
you mean like
understand?
do
So
you
you,
understand this now too?
Yeah, I think so, because it's not
so
like
on
all.
the,
Yeah, please.
so opposite of the screen on the other side of the stage, that's where you have I think that's where it intuitively makes sense to place most of the people. And then you can give people an option to also be on the top. So in this case, looking at this photo in the very end of the photo and in the place where the photo is taken from also,
Yeah.
that's where you could place people. But then maybe not all the way till the end, because then again, they will be in the vista of the other people.
Yeah.
So let's say it's a circle, okay? So you would, or better a square, then you would use two sides half on the top and the bottom of the square, and one opposite of the screen, all of it. So that would make actually a 180 more.
Can you share the floor plan and try to use the cursor so that I understand?
Just a second. I'll try to do it, but just give me a second. But you can continue talking if you need.
So one thing there is like, so in the middle, okay, so what they say, where there is FOH is when there is all the tech big control stuff.
So
like
in between there, let's say, and the where before the orange square was, it's gone now, okay? That's where you would place,
okay.
Okay, okay, exactly. Something like this, but then not pull. The only thing I would change from this would be that I would cut the top and the bottom circles smaller. Because look, again, now if I sit at the bottom, all the way at the edge that you're drawing it now, yeah. Yeah, but then yeah, that's good. But again, the top and the bottom, I wouldn't pull them all the way to the front. I would only use half or 2/3 of it.
I see.
You know what I'm?
Yeah, okay, now I understand what you mean.
You always have to think, okay, exactly, that's it.
Okay.
Because if I sit now, everybody that sits will watch into still this direction, and they will not be interfering with each other. If you have 10 people sitting at the top, they're not in your vista. You know what I mean? Because I think it's important for your piece that what's actually happening, because you have so many moments, actually, at least you did, I don't know how it developed, where you're kind of disappearing also, and you're like, huh, where's Jorge, where's Naoto, where's this, what is happening? So, and then if I have other people in that distracting me from that, I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah. So what we
yeah, also like from the reflection from today, of course we haven't shared you the video, but I feel like there's no agency to have any kind of like a skit that we have been doing. Because there's basically no stage or no like a space, like open space. I mean, still this is hard because in the middle there are steps, so it's very different from how we would do it, like surrounded by audience, because basically, yeah, every 1 meter there's a step. And that's something we need to think how we can use this middle part to do something together.
Okay. So the problem that we need to find, I guess, is because then in the back part of the theater, that is where they have all this tech control, right? Like all
Yeah,
the
but you could
Oh.
just move these lines, these diagonal lines that Naoto drew now. Yeah, exactly. You can just
Hmm.
move them in front of the tech booth.
Yeah.
Or is that too close?
No, I think yeah, I guess just there is one part, like in concerts that you can just not pass. Just there is like
Yeah,
one line in the middle that just goes straight to the middle.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And what are the other like most urgent things that you need to work on right now?
So this is actually something that we need to consider this, but I guess I will thanks for this. I need to reflect also on this. I need to reflect on this because yeah, I need to think on this. Then the other thing is what? Yes, that was something very particular that we were thinking, like we were talking about in our no, in the notes, but we didn't share that sometimes, for instance, like the way how things are happening is that when there are things to work on, you will see it, I guess, on the recording. So we are basically not acting anything. We are just, for instance, like if I need help with the sound, I said fire these days, for instance. Like so there's a certain codes, and then the sound artists come and help me with the sound. So that we are using the material that is available for us. So the less said things are, the more natural is a place for us to be, because I mean that's what we know well. When things are said is when they feel odd. I mean, this is just sharing the way how we are working so far. And there was one, so in this reflection, for instance, is an exercise of being basically very grounded and attentive to what is happening, and basically access or not access that space that is constantly transitioning between what is happening in the constellations that are moving around. And from there, for instance, sometimes, as it happens in February, there's this idea also that when much is too much. There was something literally that I said in February on the performance, and this is something that still is in my head. For instance, there was in the performance you saw that at some point I saw when I go inside of the chain, I say like I feel as a French poodle, and then right with an audience. This, for instance, is when I meant I would like, oh, Naoto. So I have,
I just turned off the video, but it's a bit choppy, but I'm following. Yeah.
okay. So I guess I have a question, and that's the question: how relevant? You see what I mean? I guess like the strategy how I'm tackling this, because we don't have time to develop, is by I'm not acting, I'm just trying to be, and also I'm trying to work with them in like we don't have time to work on a character or in acting. We just use the material that we have to make it a
But
better.
why would that be a problem? Because the whole point of your thing is also this like genuine presence,
Yeah,
right?
but
What
I guess the question, because there's a place of vulnerability of like, I don't know, for instance, like a good example of that is the way how I'm seeing is like if I said I feel like a French poodle. So like the way how I'm seeing this, I'm structured this in a way that I have basically in that moment two options. One is like saying I am a French poodle and just stay there, don't say anything, or say maybe don't say that, but just share my inner reflection of I feel I would like to share that I'm a French poodle. What I did in the performance you saw was two things. Is both. I said I am a French poodle, and then I'm sharing the reflection about I don't know how is this relevant for an audience. And so this space is what makes me very vulnerable because I don't know if it's that relevant or not to share.
Look, what is the sentence, I'm a French poodle and this is not relevant to share with an audience do for you?
Say it again?
What does that do for you? You said vulnerability, it produces vulnerability. Is there anything else that it's doing?
No, actually, so now that you said, for instance, so I see it like the sentence that the moment has two moments, no? Like I am a French poodle, saying that I have no problem in saying that out loud. What I have problem is in sharing that I feel that I'm not sure if this is relevant for an audience. That's what it makes me, I guess, so that, I guess, is that place that gives me trouble, the sharing, because it's the insight.
Okay, that's where we are back to the core, right? So I think we agreed, or I feel that became also visible from the work we've been doing to prep this, that there is a certain degree of risk and vulnerability present in this work that makes it possible for the audience to connect to you beyond formal aspects of the work, right? I don't really think it matters what you say or even if you say something at all. What matters is that you try to create in this specific setting now moments. Remember, we said it's like almost like pulling a card. So pulling the card where you can be vulnerable and whatever and however that is possible for you in that very specific moment, in that very specific run or show, you know? And it should not always be the same because it won't be vulnerable 10 times in a row. So what you should have is you should have this moment in the show and think of building around it and where you can make yourself truly vulnerable, whatever that means, you know, in that moment to you, because it will also not mean the same for you today, then it will mean the same for you tomorrow. But it's crucial that you create this moment in the show where you can make yourself vulnerable. Do you see, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's logic. Okay. So yeah, so I'm with you what you said. It doesn't matter because I give some feedback some now to, it doesn't matter actually the content of what is happening in that regard. Is more the how what is that doing with me in the moment, right? Because that's what it makes it accessible or not.
But this is
Exactly.
like sometimes I question because it's, yes, it's not a content, but maybe this is like also is like sometimes like blurry with when I'm talking with Jorge, but like for example, like I have these like characters or I don't know, whatever, the cars that I built, they're like one of them is janitor, for example. And I can access this janitor through concrete elements, for example, a broom or, you know, specific clothes that I feel attached to, or wearing headphones and doing some mundane task or cleaning. And I know this is not the content, but it has to be it has to come from the concrete element. I mean, at least for me. So I don't know if it's in that moment of French poodle, it was a chain that you were like wearing around your neck. And I don't know if this is like always the case, or is it something that like other way for you to access, or I don't know, you might say sigil or something to access this vulnerability.
I think we're saying the same thing though. Because
Yeah.
look, for you, your method, okay, that's exactly what I just said in other words. Your method, you're now describing to us a method that you have, which is you have this character of the janitor and da 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 da, that makes it possible for you to be in a certain state, okay? For Jorge, this is maybe something different. It doesn't matter what his method is in that sense. He just needs to find his method to, so in this case, the card would be create a moment of true vulnerability in front of an audience within the piece. And the method would have to be invented. And maybe for Jorge, that method is also not every day the same method, you know, but maybe Jorge, you know, okay, you know what, I need to feel a certain degree of safety. So I know when I do this and this and that, I feel safe and I feel comfortable. So right after this moment where I do that, then I invent a method for myself, whether it's the thing with the French poodle or whether it's a completely different thing, because from experience performing, I mean, a piece, for example, like Ocean, where it's very much about vulnerability, but if I use the same method, me personally, to make myself vulnerable 20 times, it becomes a trick. You know what I mean? It doesn't become real vulnerability. So
Totally.
the method needs to be adjusted to the person or the character in this case. That is, so your method is a janitor. It's great. If it works, it's a concrete thing. It's amazing. If for Jorge, that is a different route, it doesn't matter because it's just two very different methods to produce the same thing. You see what I mean? And what's essential is that the thing is authentic and not what the method is. Does that make sense?
Totally, to me. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is interesting because like it's funny because for instance, we have been with Naoto in I guess in conversation that maybe they're not so relevant. We don't have the time to go deep into, but what is relevant to share is that we have been doing this for 4 years, and sometimes we share this with people. So the difference is that now we are slowing down the process so that actually now is telling me what is he's doing, and because and then of course then it comes from a method, then I put it into some place, and I'm like having troubles in understanding that, but at the same time is what Naoto has been doing that I feel comfortable with. You see, what I'm saying is that we have been doing this, and I feel always comfortable with Naoto in this space, or uncomfortable, but because I mean, being always comfortable, even when I'm being uncomfortable, is part of being
Like
comfortable.
artistically, yeah.
Yeah, like at the end, like always, it worked in the way how we balance the space. And I think the difference is that now, because we slow down the process, now then he's sharing his way of tackling that, and I put it in a place that I'm very scared of it. I'm like, wow, but if I take distance from there, then I mean, he's always has been doing the same. Yeah.
But first of all, you have to ask you, okay, look, vulnerability is scary. I understand. Okay. But at the same time, you have also nothing to be scared of, because this is like your artistic way of expressing yourself. And okay, that's the risk we also have to take as artists, right? I mean, I'm not trying to minimize that it's scary, but all I'm saying is like, that's also, I think, what was good about this exercise, to see where the two of you, of course, have an incredible overlap after 4 years of working together, but where some of the things, some of the ingredients of the soup, so to speak, are different for you guys. Like Naoto has a very different character on stage,
Yeah.
a very different personality, a very different kind of way that his fear and vulnerability and connectiveness is manifesting in the world than yours,
Yeah.
right? So it's also completely fine that your methods are different.
Yeah.
So what works for Naoto, sometimes it will be something that works for Naoto can be super inspiring for you, and you can build on that, and vice versa. But sometimes also a thing that works for you will not work for Naoto, and vice versa. And then you have to adjust your methods in the game you're playing together.
Yeah.
So that you, and of course it's important, that's the important part, that you share your methods. But sharing your methods does not mean, oh, I have to do it like in Naoto, or oh, I have to do it like Jorge, right? It's more like that you are aware what Naoto is doing now. He's doing his method to achieve his part of, the vulnerable, the connective, all this. And that Naoto knows, oh, when Jorge is doing this, that there's a few cues of whatever kind, whether it's fire, whether it's the poodle necklace, it doesn't matter. It's like, but it's just a signifier for your peers on stage to understand, okay, now Jorge is moving into that space where he's making himself vulnerable, right? And this is authentic play. And the authenticity of this is much more important than that it's the same.
Yeah, thanks for this, because Yeah, like so yesterday, I think we had time to share the cards,
first
and
time.
well, Jorge was doing the map, and I really noticed that we don't have to understand each other in a way that, but like not that we have to understand our thought process, but we just have to have a common language so that we can have access to each other when we need. That it's not about, you know, I don't need to do what Jorge is doing, but when I need to, you know, give feedback or is something that I want to do something with Jorge, then I need to know what is access point for him so that we can do something together or individually.
I mean, a nice example for me that resonates with this would be Varela writes about this, like the pigeon, the dog, and the cat being together on the village square, okay, and a human. So we know from science, you know, that the pigeon has a completely different sense of reality than the dog or the cat or the human, okay? They have completely different sense of color, of vision, of smell, of everything. But they are not bumping into each other. There is some parameters that are shared. They're not, it's not like, oh, suddenly the pigeon falls off the village square. Like, no, or the pigeon bumps into the dog, or this, you know, there's still like temporal and spatial parameters. And in your case, of course, there is a whole shared universe of stuff that you can trust, that you share. And within that, you can accept that you are very different beings and have very different way, and it's beautiful. I mean, this difference is beautiful. It's not like something to try to, you know, edit out or make less. It's an essential part of the two of you being together on stage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we have like, yeah, it is. Yeah, yesterday was the first time that we have like this. I mean, we have been working, finishing I was finishing the map, and then we have a time to share that, and then some talks around this. And yeah, I mean, it has been very interesting because, as you said, like, I guess the difference is like now, I mean, one can say it like we're doing a performance and there's such a thing, and then the space is big. But at the end, like, we have been doing this for 4 years, and the difference is like now we slow down and trying to understand what is that you're doing, what you do. And then it's like surprising, especially for me. So I feel now too, yeah, I said for me, it's like, I feel very
Yeah, I'm
like,
very calm, but we have
yeah,
to come back to the call in a second. So just the same link,
Okay.
it's just
I
expiring.
just
Yeah,
come back here.
Okay. The same link.
Yep.
exactly.
But you're
I think it's your
like,
option that you can say that video of people to appear in the grid or not. But
okay.
I'm listening. Yeah, if I have a problem, I'll write in the WhatsApp group. So I'll just
Yeah.
turn off my
No.
video.
Sorry,
Yeah,
what are
Dani,
you?
thanks for sharing that. I think that I guess what you're saying is, yeah, I feel that we are in a good place. Yeah, with this. Yeah.
Trust in yourselves and trust in your unique differences, and trust, like, the whole point is you need to both be genuine. And also Robin needs to be, you need to find a space, and it looks like you are working towards that. You need to find a place where you all can be your genuine. You can be genuine as performers, as human beings, as entanglements with all the technology and all the things that are happening.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. And I don't even know Robin for them, or Robbie, sorry. That might be a very different thing for them, you know, than it does for you. But I think this authenticity is a crucial ingredient of pulling the energy together.
Well, actually, like it's nice that you said about Robbie, because I think Jorge is really like handling this really well with Robbie, because Robbie is not really used to be on the stage, but like Jorge is really like embracing this like awkwardness, so to say, and really transforming into the performative space. And I think that's really working well.
I think in general, that's what I share, like, because we don't have time at all, then and we have to do some so the thing is, but we are working on artistic things, but also a lot of technical things at the same time. So that's why Naoto was sharing that he's taking care of the tech, and sometimes he's checking with me, and I'm just taking care of the artistic things, and sometimes they just check together. But there are two different processes that are like beasts in each other, right? So then the way how I'm approaching is by material. I mean, by, I guess you call it authenticity. I call it just by life. So what we carry from our lives in the stage.
Yeah,
So
exactly. You can call it life.
yeah.
It's good.
So for
Yeah.
instance, like one of the things we found, like, okay, is that we was weird that with Robbie sometimes. So we said like, okay, let's find Robbie something to do on a stage while they don't know what they're doing. Because Robbie's supporting the sound sometimes. So we have now this code fire. And then when they say fire, then Robbie comes and help to put down the fire, which is sound somehow. And then we make it just a real thing on the stage. Like, can you make the sound?
Troubleshoot.
Yeah, troubleshoot and make it part of a performative action. That so it's just like a normal thing on the stage. But then in between this, then Robbie is a boxer also, like in the real life. So then in between, when they're not working on sound, they have we put today for the first time that you will see it,
Like a
a
sandbag kind
box,
of, yeah.
sandbag, and they are basically working out there until something comes out. And that gave them something in their body that is concrete to do. So yes, that's the way how we are tackling the work with Robbie. At some point, there is, so they're basically busy all the, I mean, you can see like they know what they're doing. So yeah, so they're always doing something in their body language. They're doing something. It's concrete that they are going somewhere. There was one moment now that we are proposing to do a workshop that also you saw it. I think we're keeping that as a cumbia workshop. And then there is some awkwardness on their body, but of course they're not performers, no? So then we're trying to find ways to help them to not feel, yeah, that like to offer them tools to how to deal when they don't know what to do with their body. Yeah, we are in the process of doing that.
Yeah, and one great way, I mean, that's first of all what you've achieved already to bring a new person into that. I mean, I'm just gonna say it again. That's not a trivial thing. That's a huge thing, and you didn't have a lot of time for that. First, second of all, I know that you have endless things to do, but also you have very good conditions. Okay, so and you have a lot of stuff to fall back on. So don't lose the trust. Trust the process. And the third thing is my experience as being a non-performer that is often in performative situations is the best way to be good in those situations is authenticity. So awkwardness is not a problem. Awkwardness is only a problem if you try to cover it up with acting,
Yeah.
and when it becomes unauthentic. It's okay. It's even relatable sometimes. I think in some pieces that I performed, even though I'm for sure like the shittiest performer on stage with all these like super trained bodies, like I think the thing that makes it relatable for people, or maybe is maybe that then okay, if I cannot do something where it's a bit awkward, that at least I'm authentically with that and not trying to cover it up with some slick tricks or something like that. And I think from what I've seen on the videos you sent me, I don't think you have a lot to worry about. I was actually really positively surprised of how kind of seamlessly it seemed to kind of work in this kind of system that you're proposing. And I think, of course, over time, with more practice, it gets better. But it didn't look like to me like, oh shit, like I was really worried about this, but it didn't do that at all. Like at least not from the rehearsal video that you
Yeah,
sent.
that was also the feeling. Like I have that feeling from the first time we finished with Roy. I mean, the first time they came, we just shared a little bit of what we do already. We have some conversation before, we share some things, we prepare, but I think we have a conversation of like, I don't know, maybe half an hour, and then we just, we say, let's practice. And then we say like, we can help you if you don't. So, but that was after half an hour of the being on the stage, we said, we're gonna practice for 1 hour, try to just, we are doing for this for 4 years, but we will try to be mindful with you. And but they were very generous, and I'm very happy. When, I mean, once we finished that, I felt like, okay, wow, because that could have been really wrong also, you know, could be like not matching energies, you know, in the space and so on.
Yeah, it's a bit like act like no one's watching, you know, or whatever. One choreographer I once worked with always said, like, just don't give a fuck. That, you know, like, just try to find a place in yourself where you don't give a fuck of like how you look, or because that's always where it gets awkward. I feel awkward when I feel awkward watching a piece, it's always because I see people fall into mannerisms. And this, I think you should, it didn't seem like that was happening. So it's great that you found this boxing thing, and it's a great thing. Or it's also totally fine, I don't know, for them to just lay down and rest for 5 minutes or something, you know, like anything that is not like trying to get the actor in or cover something up is, I think, a good strategy
Yes.
for that. And one thing I wanted to say about the music, I didn't write it because I know that you're in a working process, but I had one comment on the sound from the video you sent me, is where you have this like circus music thing in the
That was,
beginning.
yes.
Yeah. And maybe that was just a test, but I think it's great that you go to these like off weird folklore, you know, places. And I think there's a fine line there to not go too comical, because like, or I don't know, comical if it's the right word, but to not go too, like, I think there's something to be found about, I don't know how to say it, that it doesn't to become too circus literally, because it's good that it has these like elements also of we don't give a fuck, we're just playing and we're just mixing everything together. That's great. And I'm also not saying all the music has to be like cool or hip or anything like that. I'm just saying like there's a line there, like, and don't go too much on one end of the spectrum, and like try to really be, you know, in the whole spectrum and not, does it make sense what I'm saying?
Totally. No, I feel the same. Like, no, it's like the funny thing is like, it's like every day is totally different, Danny. Totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's the strength. I mean, that's the strength, but also the weakness with now basically, but I was also sharing that with the technicians. Is like, I said, like, because they were having a problem when we started rehearsal, and we just talked with the guys, said we just start no matter what. And so I said to the technicians, for me will be the best conditions is like if this is happening on the performance, because it makes the thing, that's how we work. But you cannot force these problems, because basically what it happens today, when we started, like they were trying to make wireless sound. So the three technicians who are spread out working in sound, video, and other things, they have to come together, and they were like, oh. So like this is just perfect. Like they have a real problem to solve, and that makes and like this also happened with us, like at some point for in the video that I think you saw, at some point Robbie searching for tape, because they really need tape to type, to put the thing on the, and you can see us, the three of us, like working, searching for the tape, and that's real. So it's real material. But some, and in the way how we work, we are very, I think we have practice on doing this. What it makes it hard for us, that's why the performance has been challenging, is because we need to set certain things to make it, to make a performance out of the something that is not supposed to be a performance somehow, like to make a performance out of a practice.
Yeah, but this again, this is what we did all the core, we did all these core things for. And it's now not about, like, that's also what I wanted to say. I don't think it's about that now I tell you, oh, here I see where you have like, I don't know, a fear of, you know, disconnection from your family. It's not that one-on-one. It's just for you. It's just for you to really get this is our practice. And it's exactly what you're saying. This is performance, and the performance is different every time. And then there's certain things of it that, will, I don't know how to say it, that will solidify, not in a bad way, in a good way, that will like fall into place. And other elements that you continue to play with. And that's what makes this thing alive. That's what makes it a practice. And that's conceptually also why this is interesting, because if you have like let's just assume the opposite. You get now to a point where every detail like works perfectly and everything is written, it's going to be the soul, the core ingredients of the piece that we tickled out, where it's like where you want to position yourself would be completely lost. So this element of risk of the life entering the practice, because practices is always about life, is crucial. So it's more about finding a place, of course, that's fucking scary in front of an audience and a big fucking place. To find a place, what are the methods that you are comfortable with? What are the methods that you expose yourself to? And how do you deal also with, of course, the insecurity that will come up? And how do you not like let that translate into fuck, I have endless things to do and this doesn't work, but actually go into a place of trust that all the things that don't work, they're also part of it.
Well, actually, like I was reflecting on this method during this conversation, because it may be that, I don't know, I'm trying to, like if this helps Jorge in your process, but like Jorge's like really good with the dynamics. And I think, like for example, with Robbie, I think it really like bringing like this authentic part of them. And like compared to like my process, which is like, I do like, like really introspective and always about, objects or myself to access something. But when I see Jorge, it's always like, it can be a situation, but with like relation to each other, with others. And this may be like, I mean, we already use it, like we have this in and out or like fire, that's always about the relation to each other. And maybe like this is something that could be like, how to say, like more like explicitly, to be a way to access. For example, like we didn't share this video with you, Dani, because it was today, but I had this moment that Jorge was talking about Afro-Colombians, I think. And basically, like talking, I don't know how it was the way that he framed, but basically it was really like talking about bad things about Afro-Colombians. And then of course it's not true, but that really like brought something from me that was like, I don't know, I was like furious, although I knew that it's fake. Sorry if the connection is a bit dropping. And this, I'm just, sorry, I hope I'm still here. So I'm just
I hear you.
Great. So I'm just sharing this because like, if this is like something that I can do for Jorge, like if it's something that I can talk, I don't know, like I can say like, something shit about Colombia or something, that if there is something that can access to, I don't know, help accessing vulnerability or something from Jorge that I can do, that can be also a method. I'm just trying to think about this.
That's a great idea. If you can, especially the two of you, as you know each other so well and you are quite entangled in each other's processes, if you can offer each other help like that, that's amazing. Of course, that's
because I also, for instance, like in what Naoto was saying today, like the way how you react, like I understood. So yeah, totally, yeah. I mean, because for instance, like in this, because so it goes in this idea that, for instance, it doesn't matter the content so much. So for instance, like I'm in a place, regardless of the place, and for some reason that triggers something on you, then what is interesting is that we make it possible. The way how I see it is like, I don't know exactly what I was playing with, and then you react in that way, you crash a can on the stage, quite violent, but then there is this silence. So instead of Yeah, so so instead of resolve, and that's part of the map, that's part of like the what we wrote, instead of resolve through form, then I listen, and then I just say thank you, and then just we move to the next scene. So it was acknowledged, and it was, so it's something happened through there, not necessarily as a response to this, but there was a moment of grief, which is a very, it's in my map, is an important element. Like from grief, I start expanding in my map. So I acknowledge the grief of that was something violent in the space for sort of for a reason, and there's nobody's fault. But there was a grief in that moment. So that this is something that I introduced. I was trying to introduce into the space today to you now, to when I said like we need to find like kind of like dark moments, or like kind of like something that is not positive, or something that is clearly goes in a place that is more close to a grief, or something that is not necessarily nice. And for instance, like that moment was something that I would put it in that category. So it's something that is just not nice, and that's just that, and we just take some seconds, and that's fine, and then just we move to the next stuff. And that's the way how we did it, how it happened today. So I mean, what I'm saying is like, it's also not so special. It's just something, but it was addressed as something that happened.
Yeah, and I think also to acknowledge, I mean, as we talked about before, I mean, with all this amount of technology you have, plus where you get your money from, and you're like kind of situated on this like border of like performance and AI and technology, la la la. You know, I mean, this is full of patriarchal violence, this field, you know? And we are all full of patriarchal violence. So there's also, I mean, I don't know, a friend of mine recently said, like, yeah, a little bit of patriarchal violence to also not like edit that out is also like a good, I don't know how to say it, a good thing. It's good if like if there's these moments of clashes that can actually serve you in this case to help each other, you know, then this visibility, or where it cuts over into the world and what all the problematic aspects each of us is also embodying in the world, next to all the ways in which we're trying to undo this, which I see your work also as part of, you know. But it's also good then that here and there, of course, in the right dosage, this can pop up, you know, and this little bit of like, I don't know if you want to call it, but a little bit of the violence of the world also being like tangible in this, not in an artificial way, but just because of it, right? And it's also part of all the stuff that we talked about in terms of positioning and in terms of reading, and how it's so important that you are the ones that determine how this is read, and not somebody else is determining how this is reading it for you. And there again, I think the more authentic you are, authenticity is also like called the places of grief, but also very simply put, like the violence we all also embody, that they become tangible here or there, is a good thing. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, thanks, Dani, for that, because you put more words in this idea. Like today, I was trying to introduce this. I reflect at some point, and I introduced as a something dark, something negative, but then you use different words to expand this idea. Yeah.
But it sounds like you have a really great process, people. So also, I know you're like in the crunch zone right now, and you're probably super tired, and you have a lot of questions and insecurities. But I just want to say, it sounds like you're going through a really great process.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we're happy. We are fucking tired, but we put like Saturday, try to put it like to not, we said like, okay, Saturday we try to take the day off because we have no day off. We are working Monday till Sunday, I mean, non-stop. And we need, I mean, we talked this morning with Naoto, like I'm normally, I told you that in the past, also in summer, I sleep really short, but these days I'm sleeping 8 hours, and I woke up and my body's like, it's not that I need to sleep more, but I need to rest. I feel like really like, ooh, it's going like really down.
Same.
Yeah, don't forget your self-care also. It's really important to also take a day of rest, because you will see after a day of rest doesn't mean nothing is
Yeah.
happening. It will, when you go back to the studio, a lot of things are gonna be resolved without you having done anything, you know?
Yeah. Dani, I wanted also to ask you something like, do you think like to try to move your text and also to share that we had a premiere, or how do you think you can contact somebody to, I was thinking, etc.
I can write to people at etc. that I know. I've never published anything there, but maybe I know two people like Seba, you know, too, and I met another
Yeah.
person also recently that is publishing there a lot. I can just send it to them and ask them if they would consider it. Just do me a favor, send me an email or a text or whatever, like with all the dates of the shows you already have and the theater. So like because I know that they only do this when something is like actually showing. So it's good to have like a few dates. And then I can just like forward it to them and see if they would be interested in publishing it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so then we just put together like some just a practical, yeah, like we have the premiere here and the tour dates that we have already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noted
Yeah,
in
that will be
the
super.
document, so I will remind you, Jorge, tomorrow. I mean, we do it. Yeah.
Amazing. Hey, and about can you just like, I mean, it doesn't have to be now. It would be cool for me to know a bit what to plan when I'm there, like in terms of working hours. I'm actually available for full time, obviously, while I'm there. I just need to, at one moment, make like literally a half an hour phone call that I need to schedule, and I will schedule according to your, like, I will adapt to your schedule, obviously. But if you know already the working hours, like more or less when we're gonna be in the studio, so that I could just like schedule a half an hour thing when we have a break or when we're done
Yeah, I
working.
think today we have like kind of a rough schedule because we needed to share with Robbie, and Robbie is not every day. So we were thinking, if I remember, you can remind me now to what we said.
I think we'll send you later
yeah.
with as a
Exactly,
text.
send it to
Yeah.
me. It's also not
Yeah.
it's also not super urgent, just that in the next 2 days I can schedule that other call that I need to have. Cool, and I'm super
Sorry,
excited to
just
come.
for the bureaucracy, I need Dani, we need you to fill in the form that we sent you. Oh, sorry. Sorry, so I repeat, we need you to fill the form that we sent you by email. I can send it to you again if you lost it. But basically that's a contract
No, I
with
didn't lose it. My problem is that I'm traveling without my I can sign it digitally, but I'm
Right.
really if it's okay to sign it digitally, I can sign it and send it to you.
Yeah, totally. That's fine. Yeah. It's just
Okay,
like
perfect.
to make the contract so that we can actually pay you.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Thanks so much.
It's just that I cannot, I don't have access to a printer or anything like that. So
No, like electronic is
cool.
okay.
No worries.
Super.
And yeah, if you want me to the next until the 22nd in the evening, I'm gonna be. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we just lost now for a second. Yeah, can you repeat what you said, Dani?
What I wanted to say is that from tomorrow noon until the day after late evening, I'm gonna be offline. So if you want me to watch another video, I could either do it tomorrow morning or then on the 23rd during the day, because I will go to the wilderness and I will not have any reception.
Yeah. So now did you write down the time?
I'm taking all the notes.
Available?
Yep.
Now
all good.
Okay.
I know. I know.
Okay, so if it's urgent, you have to send it to me tonight. Then I can still have a look.
Yeah.
Then I can still have a look at it tomorrow before I go offline. Or if it's
Yeah,
not that
that will be
urgent,
great.
you can send it to me whenever, and then I will watch it either on the 22nd in the evening or on the 23rd in the morning, depending when I'm back online.
I think will be good, like, because now we move to the space, like, so we will send you what we did today, so that you can
Okay.
watch in the morning.
Okay, I will do the same what I did last time. And again, if you have concrete questions that we didn't cover now, obviously I'm gonna watch it with everything that was said now. But if there's any other concrete questions, send them to me, and then I will just get back to you by writing also after I watched it. And if you have a urgent need to check in again in a call before I go offline, you can, I can let you know, but I'm usually awake early, so I will watch it early in the morning.
Okay, super. So Jorge, I guess you can take care of the video.
I will
Okay.
I will render that. I will render, and then I will make sure it's tonight to send it.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm uploading on YouTube as well. So if you have any problem, because we also have to
Okay,
check.
cool.
We also have to check if the 360 video is looking nice in that space or not, because the space is very different. So it might be dark or it might be too far. But we'll check and send you the links. Yeah, or link.
Okay. And in any case, on the 23rd, I will be actually for sure sitting at the airport for a couple of hours because I'm flying to Madrid from here. And I will so on the 23rd I will anyway sit and to have some office hours. So if you need another call, that would be a good time for me.
Super. Okay, so I think
Amazing.
from us is like there is nothing more from us, and now to took the notes of the times that you are offline. So we follow up asynchronously from.
Okay, amazing. And keep up the good work. Don't get stressed. Remind yourself
Thank you so
that
much.
you have a lot. It's going to be great. And I'm super excited to come and be able to see it and
Yeah, we are also very happy that you can come. Like this, it's really nice that you can come here. We're very excited.
Yeah,
also.
we're excited to have you.
Amazing. Cool. And don't forget to
Ciao,
rest
babes.
also.
Yes.
Ciao.
Ciao, baby.
Thank you so
Love you.
much.
Bye.
Good night.